Hi, it's Peg, and today's video is the short version from Art Joy of Sharing. Now, I did not have the camera running for the very beginning, but I just put some paint down on these 5x7 canvases. I think I used some stencils and some soft gel medium to create texture, and now I'm adding some inks and just letting them flow across the surface. I like that copper in combination with those greens and blues and yellows. So I have 3 of these 5x7 canvases that I'm working on because I like to work back and forth between them, and it just gives me more opportunity to, pick and choose what I want to work on. This is an hour-and-a-half show that Chelsea and I do live each Thursday, 10:30 Central Time. And if you want to join us, it's a live show on our sister channel, which is Art Joy of Sharing. And we also have the Facebook group, which is Art Joy of Sharing. If you'd like to join us there, you can post in that group any challenges or pictures that you have. We just ask that you answer the questions and are not advertising for others, but are being a good group member. So, yeah, I'm going to glue down some collage pieces. We're going to talk about a number of different products. Shell is working in a watercolor journal today with her watercolors, and I'm looking for some tissue. I've got some that I printed. I've got some of this Tim Holtz tissue, and I end up using a piece or two of this on my background. I just wanted to create some texture and light. I had stamped previously some butterfly images using some Dina Wakley crayons, and there's a video that I did about the Dina Wakley crayons and how difficult they are to peel, and what you can do to resolve the issue. But that's a separate video, and now I'm just using some matte gel medium to place these down and get them integrated into my background. And I'll continue to work this piece. So yeah, the show is an hour and a half, so there's not time to create masterpieces, but we do try to incorporate some training, some teaching into what we're showing you guys about our process. When you are working like this and talking to an audience and talking to the other person that's on the screen with you, things can become confusing in a hurry, and you don't always get things just the way you want them. But we try to talk about options that we have when we're making things and why we're picking the things that we pick, and how we go about creating collage components and the different products that we're using here. These are those butterflies that I had stamped off on some tissue paper, and I'm going to glue that down because the theme for today, for the month of May in Art Joy of Sharing, is AJOS Magic. That's the hashtag, AJOS Magic. And when I think about butterflies, I think they're magical creatures. They start as these caterpillars, and then they go into the chrysalis form, and once they're in the cocoon, they change into this beautiful creature with wings that can fly. So I think all things winged are rather magical, and so that's what I chose to do for AJOS Magic this month. Now these are rather pale because I used those Dina Wakley crayons on a rubber stamp, and of course they are more like watercolor, and they fade down a little bit. So I'm going to dry this down a little bit, and then I'm going to add some more crayon over the top. Now, as I'm working, I'm waiting for things to dry down. I'm trying to figure out what else I want to do on these other backgrounds. So I'm going to add some archival ink and tone down the edges of this particular piece. I did a little bit of scripting with that copper toned F&W ink, and now I'm using some archival ink to add depth to the edges, and a little bit of yellow in the midsection to brighten that. And this will become another piece eventually. I'm not going to finish all three pieces today because we only have an hour and a half. But I am, continuing to work these backgrounds as that other collage piece dries down. Those papers and glue take some time to dry, and I'm just giving it an opportunity to set up a little bit. So now I'm adding some blue tones and feeling kind of happy with what I have there for the tones, and going to add a little bit of texture with a stencil and this brown archival ink. I think this is tree bark or something like that. But it just adds another dimension. I like layers. I love layers. Everything is better with layers. So going to go around the edge with that ink, give it a little more depth. Looking at this piece and thinking, well, do I want to use a section of this as an overlay on here? And so I'm just taking some water, going around the edge of my image and tearing that piece out. I'm looking at it on there and I'm just not feeling it. It's too big. I really like the scripted piece in the background, so no, I am not going to use that. Now I'm getting some transparent yellow oxide and putting that on this piece to unify the colors, to blend them together. These are transparent colors, so it helps to bring that all together. And I'm going to drip some inks on here, adding more color, dabbing it away, getting some dark blue for depth because I want, the contrast between the lights and the darks in my background here. So adding some acrylic to get that contrast. And I'm liking what that's doing. I've got the bright yellow, the green, and the blue, along with that sunburst image from the stenciling. So I'm drying that down a bit. And I'm back to the original piece. Yes, it is still wet. Still trying to dry it down enough so that I can continue working. And I decided I wanted to put a quote on here. I have a rubber stamp that has a nice quote that I think is going to be appropriate on here. And I'm going to emboss it. First, I'm going to use this Pentel brush pen and highlight these watercolored butterfly images to make them stand out a little bit more. Just doing a very sketchily drawing around the butterfly. And then I'm also going to use these Pitt pens. These are Faber-Castell Pitt pens. They're permanent pen. So I am coating this with some more matte gel medium because I need that ink to dry down. I don't want that moving. And then I'm going to use the Pitt pen and blend it out to give some shadow and highlight around the butterfly images. So you can do this just with, oh, here we go. Now I'm into those Dina Wakley crayons, adding a little more color to the butterfly with these crayons. And I'm just wetting it with a brush and getting it to move around because they're kind of like watercolor. But I want my butterflies to be a bit brighter. So I'm adding some more color back into those. And then I get the Pitt pens out. And I'm going to use several colors. I have a brown and a blue and a purple. I like the variation, not just one color. But you can see I'm using my finger and blending that so that I'm not getting the sharp line. And because I have the gel medium on there, it's moving quite easily on the surface and giving me the shadowing and highlighting that I want on here. Coming back in with some of those blues on the edges, blending that out. And I will also add some more India ink to the edges. Just getting the dauber, what do they call that? I don't know. It's just a pipette type thing that they've got in the bottle on these inks. I'm going to add that, adding a little more depth to the edge. In retrospect, I could have done this in a different color, but I do have black on here, so that's okay. Looking at those other two pieces again, trying to figure out if I'm going to do anything with that. Then I'm going to go find a stamp. I want that sentiment on this. And the stamp itself says, "A misty morning does not signify a cloudy day." And I think that that's a good sentiment to go with these butterflies. So I'm going to use some sticky ink. This is Versamark ink pad on my stamp. I'm first tinting it with some rosin or powder to take away anything that's sticky. I'm going to stamp that sticky ink for my sentiment. And then I'm going to use this, I think it's a Seth After, maybe not. It's a Emerald Creek embossing powder anyway. I like their powders, and they've been very generous with me, so I'm going to use them. And yeah, I like how that's working. And then I'm going to get my bottle that has my high flow acrylic mixed with a little bit of water and do some outlining to highlight. So that's about it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed this. This is sped up 4 times fast. If you want to see the complete show in its original form of hour and a half with both Chelsea and I on the screen, go over and check out Art Joya Sharing, which is my sister channel. And if you like this channel, please like, share, subscribe, and all those things that let the community know here on YouTube that this is a video that has content that is of value to you. Thanks for being here with me, and I will see you again soon with another video. Thanks for stopping by.